Everyone, and welcome. My name is Dennis Xiao. I'm the organizer of the Bay Area Content Marketing Meetup. Today, we're talking about creating a cross-sell marketing strategy to drive e-commerce sales. Joining us is Liat Karpel Gurwicz. She's head of e-commerce marketing at Wix. Liat's going to talk about how to build a cross-sell strategy that leverages data and marketing tactics to get shoppers buying more and coming back time and time again. Liat, take it away, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see my deck. So we'll go back one. So I'm Liat. I lead e-commerce marketing at Wix. You have my handle there if you guys want to connect with me on Twitter. I'm happy to do that and answer any questions following the session. I'm really excited to be here today and talk with you guys. I've done, I guess, way too many online presentations this year, as I'm sure many of you have. And I found that in the last while, the sessions have kind of grown to these proportions where it's really hard to engage with people. So I get really excited when I get to do sessions like these, but I can actually see the faces and talk to people a little bit in chat. It's so much more fun for me, at least. And also super exciting that I get to speak to you guys out in California because I'm based in Tel Aviv. So it's a treat that we can actually connect, and I don't have to wait till I'm on a plane over there to meet with you guys. For those of you who aren't familiar with us, I'll just tell you a little bit about Wix e-commerce. So today we have over 700,000 active stores around the world. And in 2020, our store owners did over $5.4 billion in online transactions on the platform. 2020 was obviously a year that pushed brands and businesses around the world to adapt and shift in order to survive, with many more businesses starting to sell online and many more people starting to shop online. So we definitely saw that growth on the platform. We saw 140% year-over-year growth in sales transactions and 114% year-over-year growth in sales revenue. So huge impact in the world of e-commerce and the way people are shopping and doing business. So I think most people are familiar with Wix for our website building solution, but we also offer a complete e-commerce platform. So you can manage product catalog, inventory, and all your sales from the dashboard, connect and manage payment providers. We actually offer our own payment provider today called Wix Payments. We also allow you to integrate all your sales channels and manage all of your sales and inventory from a single dashboard. So whether that's a Facebook shop or Amazon or eBay or other options. We have a full suite of analytics and sales reports across all of your sales channels. You can manage shipping and fulfillment. And we also offer a native CRM solution. So that's the platform in terms of the offering, just so you guys are familiar. And from there, I'll dive straight into what we're going to talk about today, which is, first of all, understanding a little bit of the theory behind cross-sell and what that's all about. And then we can get more into the practical side and tactics of actually implementing a cross-sell strategy. So let's start with what exactly is cross-sell. And here I want to differentiate for a sec between upsell and cross-sell, which oftentimes people confuse. And they are similar in many ways. They're both sales strategies designed to get customers to spend more when they're shopping, but they work in different ways. And also the way we're going to talk about implementing them are a little different. So upsell is the idea where you encourage customers to buy a comparable product to the one they're considering, but that's superior and usually more expensive. So if I went to go and get a burger, it would be the salesperson getting me to take the deluxe burger, the double cheeseburger, just getting, a better version of the burger that I came in to get. And then cross-sale is when you encourage customers to buy related or complementary products in addition to the product that they're considering. So again, if I came in for the burger, it's offering me fries alongside the burger. So those are the two main concepts that we're going to talk about and dive a little bit into the details there today. So let's start with upsell, where we're talking about selling superior, more expensive products. So typically we would be talking about either a higher, better model of a product, or else the same product with additional features that are raising its value or potentially raising its perceived value, depending on the product. So here, if we're talking about an e-commerce setting, for example, maybe you have a customer shopping in your online store for a laptop, and you would be suggesting to the customer through prompts and other methods that we'll talk about, maybe a more advanced, expensive model, like a laptop with extended storage or better screen resolution. So I wanted us to look together today a little bit at what this would look like in an e-commerce setting. So I'm going to share with you some recent shopping that I've been doing. We're going to take a look at my Amazon account for a second. I have been equipping myself and my family with some additional camping gear as of late, because we are trying to recreate responsibly, considering life at the moment, and spend some time outdoors. So I was in the market for a new camp stove. You can see that's what I have there. So we'll zoom in for a second. So that was the model I was looking at, a basic model. And you can see here in this little red square on my screen that Amazon are actually suggesting something else to me. And they're suggesting to me a slightly better model. It costs a little more money. So like the model I was looking at was $16.95. The one they're suggesting is $19.77. So it's a little more expensive, has a couple more features. So that's a great example of upsell in e-commerce, right? Where I'm looking at a product and the store is suggesting to me one that's a little superior to the model I was looking at. So if we compare that to a cross-sell strategy where we're trying to get customers to buy additional products that are related to what they're already buying, here we're going to be thinking about products that potentially satisfy additional complementary needs that your original product isn't fulfilling, or else related products that the customer is likely to need or want to buy anyway, and maybe isn't aware that you have. So if we go back to that original example of the laptop, perhaps you would be suggesting to the customer to buy a docking station or a mouse that went along with the laptop. And we're going to go back to my camping stove example that I was shopping for. So you can see down the bottom here that there are a whole lot of additional suggestions, and I'm going to do a little zoom there for a sec so we can see them better. But you can see that Amazon is doing exactly that with the cross-sale. They're suggesting complementary products to me, for example, gas canisters that I'm going to need if I want to actually use the stove, a frying pan that will let me cook on the stove, and various other products. So those would be a cross-sell. Now, you might ask me why I did not highlight these little items up here in a red box and call them cross-sell. And that was for a very good reason, because those are in fact another subset of cross-selling called bundling. So bundling, I don't even know if it's a subset of cross-sell, it's more like the weird offspring of upsell and cross-sell together. Because what you're doing is you're taking the main product and then bundling it with the auxiliary products for a higher price than just that single product alone. And you can sell in pure bundling, where you only make the bundles available and people cannot buy the individual products, or you can do a mix where people can buy both the individual or the bundled products, depending on what works for your business. So that would be that example that we saw there, where Amazon had suggested a bundle of products to me for a better price if I bought all three of them together. So that is the basics of cross-sell and upsell in terms of the highest level of theory. And a lot of times people ask me, great, but now how do I know which one is right for my business or my client's business? So in some ways, they're very similar because all of them aim to increase revenue. There is a business objective of trying to increase your overall order value and conversion rates of your shoppers. But ultimately, what you're really trying to do is provide value to your customers. So you have to really understand what your customers are looking for and then be suggesting things to them that truly meet their needs and wants. Because if you're just going to use it as a pushy sales strategy and try and get people to buy things, you're going to end up frustrating them, annoying them, and achieving the opposite result and making them run away from your brand or business as opposed to buy more. So the focus here is on giving them relevant options, this being the key term here, and also making sure that they are aware of what else you have to offer, because we don't want to limit customers just to the first option that they happen to find. And this is particularly important in an e-commerce setting, because in the world of e-commerce, your customers don't get to engage directly with you, the business owner, or your team or staff. They don't walk into your store. They don't get to touch the products. They don't get to look around the shelves. So your online store needs to do all of that work for them. So we need to figure out other ways of providing this value to the customer. And then on top of that, I would say you don't necessarily have to pick and choose. You can find a good mix for your business. They're not mutually exclusive. Upselling and cross-selling can actually be mutually beneficial when you do them correctly. And we'll get into that when we look at some of the examples. So let's actually dive into how we're going to go about implementing this cross-sell strategy. So number one, you really need to get hyper-focused on understanding your audience and knowing your shoppers. So put yourself in your customer's shoes and try to understand why a customer is choosing to buy any product from you in the first place. Like, think about what is the product they're buying and what does that say about them and their needs. You know, Amazon's thinking about me. I told them I need a camping stove and they understood I want this kind of product. I probably need these other products that go along with it. They're thinking about what similar customers to me are buying when they're buying this product and what goes well together. So they're looking at demographics and they're looking at shopping patterns of other buyers and previous history. And that's really what you need to do. You need to first try and understand your customer's intent and what they're trying to do. Then take that and cross-reference it with your data. So you're going to go into your previous sales order data and your history, and you're going to look at which products customers tend to buy together, or which products they looked at, and then ultimately which products they ended up buying off of those. And you'll start to see patterns and learn how to think about these in a way that serves your customers well. So that's going to be the base for how you start to think strategically about your buyer personas and think about how you're going to create compelling offers that really speak to their needs and wants. So that's the homework we do first. And then once we're armed with that, we're going to start thinking about how we create value in the offers that we're providing our customers. So there's product planning that needs to happen. You really need to review your product catalog and decide which products are related together and should be promoted together in a cross-sell scenario, which more expensive products get promoted alongside other products as an upsell, and which products potentially get bundled together. And there are some things you can do to really add additional value here to customers as you're creating these different packages. So in terms of cross-sell, you can think about recommending either required accessories that go along with the product for proper use. So again, if I go to my camping stove example, Amazon understood that if I don't buy a gas canister, I'm not going to be able to use that stove. Now, they don't know if I have one at home or not. So they're suggesting it to me. They're like, great, you want this camping stove. Maybe you also want to buy this thing that's going to allow you to actually cook on the stove. You can bundle related products together so that customers don't need to look for these additional components or accessories. And that's what Amazon did there with that bundle that they offered me. They were like, hey, if you buy the stove, the gas canister, and this little pot that goes on top of it, then you're probably good. Those are the basics that need to go together in order for you to effectively use this product. Sometimes when you're doing bundles, it's a good idea to offer a discount on the bundle. That creates a little bit of FOMO so that customers don't want to lose out on a good deal, and it can encourage that immediate purchase of the bundle itself. And another way to think about bundling in terms of more of an upsell context is giving customers free gifts along with the upsell item. So when you're asking a customer to buy a more expensive product in an upsell, they're usually fully aware of the fact that the product is more expensive. And they'll go for it if that product is going to provide them value or meet additional needs that they have. But it does make them feel better when they see that you appreciate the fact that they're investing more and that they're taking on a more expensive product. So that's a nice way to show value to your customer. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a gift that's a product. You can also think about offering things like loyalty points as an additional value to customers who are either taking more expensive items or taking bundles of multiple products. So those are all things that you can think about as you're creating these product promotions and offers for your customers. And now we're going to get into the real tactical part of this about how we're going to make this work on an actual e-commerce website. So the next couple of slides are going to be examples. Don't worry, I'm actually going to show you guys websites and we're going to talk about them and walk through different examples. But I just want to get some basics out of the way here. There are a couple of best practices that we want to bear in mind. So we're going to use upsell and cross-sell in different places within the buyer journey, because we really need to make sure that we're helping a customer and not creating friction for them. So let's start with upsell. Upsell is where we want our customer to buy a superior, more expensive product. So let's say I'm a clothing store and my customer comes to my store and they're looking at a nice jacket on my store. And I'm recommending to them other jackets for them to consider. So in an upsell scenario, I'm probably recommending more expensive jackets, fancier jackets, different materials, whatever it is. When the customer is in a browsing state of mind, meaning they're looking at category pages or product pages themselves, that's a good place to suggest these things to them, because they're still thinking about what they want. They're still processing, they're in that decision-making mode. So that's when I want to show them the other options of those expensive products. But now imagine that my customer chose their jacket and they proceeded to the checkout process. So if I were in checkout or cart to start presenting an upsell to the customer of more expensive jackets, what I'm doing is I'm creating friction for that customer, because now I'm confusing them and creating doubt in their mind. They were ready to check out. And then I said, hey, don't you rather want this beautiful pink jacket instead? That it costs $20 more, and my customer is going, maybe I want the pink jacket, maybe I don't. Do I want to pay $20? Do I want this jacket? I thought I knew which jacket I wanted. Should I go back to the catalog now? I'm going to go get a coffee instead, and I'll buy this jacket another time. So that's not what we want to do in an upsell scenario. So my best practice is yes on the category and product pages, no on the checkout process. And the same if you're using models of upsell, things like what other customers actually bought. So again, if I'm looking at a jacket, you want to show me customers who looked at this jacket actually bought these other jackets. But when I'm in cart, you never want to tell me something like that, because you don't want to confuse me. Versus a cross-sell, where we can use this much more frequently throughout the customer buying journey. So the cross-sell is where we want a customer to buy additional products that go along with that original product that they're buying. So here, again, if I'm looking at a jacket and I'm on the category or product pages, I could see cross-sell recommendations, for example, related similar items. So maybe I want to see shirts or pants that go along with that jacket. That's great. That's not interfering with my browsing process, and it makes sense in the context of what I'm buying. And then let's say I go to checkout. So I chose my jacket, I went to checkout. If, for example, in the checkout, I were to get a suggestion, hey, do you also want to buy this lint roller for another $5 to keep your jacket looking good? That would be a great cross-sell, because it's part of the process. I'm like, yeah, I really need that lint roller. I don't have one, and now my jacket's not going to be in good condition. So it's a quick click to add it to cart. It's not a huge amount of money for me. It's making me get value for my purchase. So that's something that I could do in checkout. So again, here, a slight difference on how we're going to show those, what other customers did. If we're talking about cross-sell, we would be showing what other customers also bought, because we want to buy additional products. So customers who bought this jacket also bought these shoes, also bought these pants. And that would work in all of your cross-sell offerings. So this is a fun stat from our network. but it just goes to show you the power of upsell and cross-sell. And we see that Wix stores who display related items on their product pages get around 43% more sales transactions. So that's a really huge number in terms of your turnover for your business. And it's work that you do once, and it keeps working for your business on your website. So definitely something that is worth investing in when you're building out that e-commerce buyer journey. So let's take a look at some examples. Here we're looking at a website called Ruby Love. This is a Wix store. They sell period, swimwear, and underwear. They're a really great store, and they do some smart stuff. So I wanted to show you guys some of the things that they do. So the image that we're looking here at the bottom is an example of their product page. So I'm looking at some swim bottoms that I was considering buying. And they're saying to me, hey, people who bought these swim bottoms also bought these other items. So they also bought underwear and other items that go along with their purchase. So that's a good example of cross-sell. They're using their data of what customers regularly purchase together, and they're suggesting that to me. And another cool thing that they do is actually in the checkout process itself. So let's say I said, okay, I'll take these swim bottoms. I added them to carts. They have this great little slider that you see here on the bottom right that comes in to your cart. And they're saying to me, hey, do you want to take a double pack of pads that go along with those swim bottoms? And actually, I probably do, because I might not have those to go along with those swim bottoms. And if I would have bought those swim bottoms without them, I might even be really upset when I get my purchase and discover that I need something else to utilize that product. So they really are providing value to their customers by making that offer, in addition to increasing the order value and the sale. And it's done in a very subtle way, so it's not interfering with my checkout process. And I could easily ignore it and carry on with the checkout without that bothering me. So that's a great use of cross-sell within the buyer journey. And something else that Ruby Lab does really well are the bundles. And you can see here they feature the bundles in the category pages as well as in their related items. So again, when I was looking at those swim bottoms, they're showing me this bundle and they're saying, okay, you're interested in these swim bottoms. Here's the full pack of products that people usually buy when they're considering this product. And they're giving it for a much better price. So there is value in me choosing the bundle over just one of the single products. So that's another example of how you could do a subtle cross-sell to customers who are in that browsing state of mind in an e-commerce setting. So here we'll look at a totally different kind of product. This is another store of ours called Coal & Canary. Coal & Canary do luxury candles. I really love their products. They have amazing scented candles, and they do all these fun, unique scents. And one of the great things that Coal & Canary do are seasonal products. So what we're looking at here, this product is actually their Easter bundle. So they put out a new bundle just for Easter. There are 3 candles in the bundle. And this is a good example of pure bundling, because you cannot buy those candles individually. So if you want the candles, you have to buy the bundle. It's a limited time edition. And for them, this kind of product marketing works really well. They always sell out of all of their seasonal offers of these kind of sets of candles that they bring out. So that's a really great way to utilize cross-sell in an e-commerce setting. And Coal & Canary actually do a slightly different cross-sell in their cart experience. So I chose a lovely candle that I would like to have for myself called Fake Lashes and Camera Flashes. And I'm going to light that candle at my campsite so that I don't feel like I'm just camping out and think that I've gone somewhere a little more glamorous for my vacation. And Coal & Canary asks you, they also have a little checkbox down here at the bottom that asks you if it's a gift. So if I mark this is a gift, they ask me if I want a gift card. I can actually write my little message that's going to go in the gift card. It's an additional $5, and I can add it straight to cart. And that's an amazing cross-sell. It gave me value if I was buying this candle for my mom, as I should be, to thank her for her good decisions. I could send her a lovely message and say, thanks, Mom, and I'm sorry, and I won't do silly things anymore. So that's another example of a cross-sell in cart. And here we'll look at another different kind of product. So here we're looking at a website called Forge to Table. Forge to Table sell handcrafted Japanese chef knives. They have really beautiful products, and they do a really good job of suggesting which products go along with which. So they make really smart use of the related items in all their product pages, and they suggest unique sets of items that go together for every single page. So that's a great way of doing cross-sell. And they do really, really extensive bundles. So here I'm showing you an example of one that they actually have an entire category dedicated to bundles on their website, where they create all of these great value bundles. You can see here, you get a really great deal on the bundle when you're buying products that go together. So these are all really simple ways to do it within the website pages themselves, within an e-commerce store. And we'll continue to talk now about another way that you can enhance that buyer journey. So here we're going to talk a little bit about live chat. I will warn you guys and say that this is probably my favorite feature to talk about ever. I don't think I've ever done an e-commerce presentation and not talked about live chat. I just somehow have a different angle to talk about live chat, no matter what we're doing in e-com. So today we're going to talk about live chat in the context of cross-sell, upsell. But it's one of the things that I recommend every e-commerce business to add to their website. It's a huge value to your customers. And again, if we go back to what I mentioned earlier, in that in the world of e-commerce, your customers don't get to engage with you or your team directly. They're engaging with your website. But when you add a live chat, you do bring in a human component to their experience with your business and your brand. And you allow them to connect with you or your team and talk with you guys directly. So it's a really great way to enhance your customer service and to connect directly with your customers. So here I can tell you that for Wix stores that offer live chat, they get 8 to 12 times higher revenues, which is a huge increase. But those specifically who are recommending products in an upsell, cross-sell manner to customers via live chat generate 71% more sales. So it's a very, very effective way to increase sales with customers. And if we go back to that value of what you're doing with live chat, what you're really doing is just connecting with your customers in real time at a key stage of their shopping journey. And if I had been a brick and mortar store, when my customer walks in the door, I'd go up to them and say, "Hey, Dennis, how are you today? What are you looking for? Can I help you with anything?" And Dennis would say, "Hey, you know, my friend's getting married this weekend and I need a good jacket for that. Can you help me find the jacket that I'm going to look good in?" And then I'd offer Dennis some jackets and we'd walk around the store together and I'd show him where everything is. And while he was trying on the jacket, I'd bring him some shirts and shoes to try on that look really good with them. And we'd have fun and we'd make some jokes and hopefully he'd buy all of those products and feel really good about it. So I want to do that for my customers in an e-commerce setting. So when you engage with them this way, you're able to identify those little windows of opportunity when you're talking to person and they give you that little bit of extra info about what it is that they really need or really want. And then you can make them a really relevant offer and get them the exact thing that they're looking for. And here I'll let you in on the best secret of all for the world of e-commerce with live chat, is that I could probably give Dennis even better service than I would if he came into my brick and mortar store, because I have the benefit of data on my side. So Dennis, if you've shopped with me before, while I'm chatting to you in the live chat, I can open up my back office and look at your sales history. And then I know what you've already bought from me and what you liked and didn't like. And I can make you an even better recommendation. So these are all things that an e-commerce business needs to factor in to their cross-sell strategy, and then also build out these kind of canned messages or offers for their agents to use in the setting. So once we, right in the beginning, we made these buyer personas, we thought about what people wanted in different scenarios, you can really create a whole series of content for your team to use that services different personas in a great way in a live chat setting. So I will say here something that really doesn't apply only to live chat, it applies to any kind of upsell and cross-sell offer. And that is, you just need to be sensitive to your customers' needs and be subtle and provide value, right? Again, we're not trying to harass the person or bug them to buy things that they don't want or just kind of push a bunch of offers at them. We really are trying to provide value to the customer. And then the other thing that you want to do as you're thinking about that longer term customer journey in terms of an upsell and a cross-sell is think about how you continue to engage that customer after they leave your online store or the e-commerce website. And here you're going to want to use tools like automations and emails. For automations, those might be email automations, they might be SMS notifications. You can use different tools to get the message out to your customer. I think one of the most popular and well-known automations in the world of e-commerce is abandoned cart recovery. So I just pulled that step for you guys because it's a really interesting one. So here I can say which stores who connect, who have an active abandoned cart recovery automation set up for their store, actually increase sales by 29%. And really all that is if a customer started to shop, added items to cart, and then left in the middle of the shopping experience, you send them a follow-up email and you say, hey, Dennis, I noticed that you were shopping for this jacket. Did you still want to finish your purchase? And here, there are different ways and different strategies for these emails. We'll look at a couple of examples in a second. Sometimes you just need to remind a customer. Sometimes customers don't follow through because life happens. I can tell you, I love to shop online, but my husband gets happy when life distracts me. So, my kid shouts, my mom calls, something happens, and then, I forgot what I was buying and the cart stays full till the next time I come back. So these kind of reminders can be great for that scenario, but sometimes customers abandon because there's price sensitivity. So in that kind of situation, giving them a nice discount can help, something to encourage them, they were interested in the product, but maybe it was a little pricey. So following up and saying, hey, we noticed you left that jacket in cart. Here's a 10% coupon for you to get a discount on that. Or else maybe the jacket wasn't all the way there, right? Like maybe Dennis kind of liked the blue jacket, but he wasn't sure. So if I sent him in that 10% coupon email, a little note at the bottom saying, and by the way, customers who like this jacket also looked at these two jackets, Dennis might say, you know what? The brown one, that's the one that I was actually looking for, and come back and buy. So you can continue this cross-sell communication with your customers all the way through that buyer journey. So in terms of automations, you just want to think about rule-based automations based on your customer behavior. And here again, you're going to go back to that data on previous purchases and look at patterns about when customers tend to make repeat purchases and use that to create insights for your rules. So I gave the example of the abandoned cart recovery, but another great one is understanding how often customers tend to make repeat purchases, and then just sending them a reminder in that time frame. So if we know customers tend to come back after 30 days, send them an email after 28 days and just say, hey there, did you want to buy something else or check out these new products, or whatever you think is the right offer for them. Some products run out, right? So if you have a product, maybe it's a hand cream that typically customers finish within 6 weeks. Send a reminder after 5 weeks and say, hey, did you want to get another hand cream from me? So there are things that you can really program into this journey that make sense for the customer. And then beyond just those behavioral rule-based engagements, you can also think about specific offers that bring value to specific kinds of customers. So here we're going to create segmented customer lists based on those personas and other customer groups that you want to define, so that you're sending them custom messaging and offers in a way that is relevant for them. So here we're going to do the example again. Let's say Dennis bought the jacket from me, right? And he bought a really expensive jacket from me. He is not going to appreciate it if I send him an email after 2 weeks trying to get him to buy a different jacket, right? He just bought a jacket. He doesn't need another jacket from me. And he's really not going to be happy with me if I offer him 50% off the jacket that he just bought from me. Okay, then he's going to be mad at me for tricking him into buying an expensive jacket. He's going to be mad at himself for making a poor decision. And he's probably not going to want to buy from me anymore. But on the other hand, if I send Dennis an email that suggests some nice shirts or some nice shoes that go along with that great jacket that he just bought, he might be down for that. He might even be happy that I suggested some additional products that go along with this jacket that he's feeling really good about. So you need to be really mindful and sensitive when you're creating these content and be very clear on the customer groups that are receiving them. So let's take a look at a few examples. So this email here actually belongs to that candle store that we looked at previously, Coal & Canary. So this email goes out 30 days after a customer purchases a candle. So they know that it usually takes about 1.5 months to 2 months before a candle burns out completely, and customers want a new one. So they send out this little thank you and reminder after 30 days and give you a nice little coupon to encourage you to buy with them when you're ready to get your next candle. And they even make a joke about it that like their candles burn for a long time. So they're really referencing that situation with their customers. It's a really effective email for them. They make a lot of sales off of this one very simple email. So that's our cross-sell automation for Coal & Canary. And this is from Forge to Table. They do things a little bit differently. So these are not automations. These are emails that they send out to different customer groups. The one on the left is for a new knife that they brought out. And they sent that email to customers who they know are interested in this type of product, who they think are really going to want this great new knife. So it goes out to a very targeted list of their shoppers. And the one on the right is one of their bundle emails. So here also, every time they come out with new bundles, they send them out to their shoppers, but they make sure to remove people from the audience who've already bought one of the products that is in that bundle. So again, we don't want to upset Dennis and offer him that same jacket again. So they create really targeted customer lists, and then they just create the right content for the right kind of customer. So that's another way that you can continue cross-sell throughout your customer journey. So I think really at the end of the day, what I always like to talk about is how our customers, and it's true for any business, it's true for me as well, are absolutely our greatest asset. You invest so much in acquiring any customer, and that's your marketing budget, your time, your resources, your team's time. And any sale is always great for an e-commerce business, but the real reward is not just closing that sale or that first sale. It's the opportunity to keep earning from that customer for a lifetime. So when you have that in mind, the way that you approach the sale and the way that you package the offer and the value to the customer is going to be really different. So really focus on the value, focus on the long-term relationship, focus on the next sale and the next one, not just this one, and make sure that you're building towards that in every offer that you're creating for your customers. And that's it. That's what I got for you guys today. So if you want to connect with me or the team, you can go to our Facebook group. You can hit me up on Twitter. Happy to answer any questions for you. And I'm sure our team is as well. And if you have any questions for me, I will try and answer them for you.
I have a question, Liat. What are your thoughts on like the exit intent banners? I hate them myself, but I've heard other people say that they're very effective. Like to me, I think of that as still being kind of in cart, even though you're not.
Yeah. So I'm going to say it really depends. I've seen some examples, but few. Honestly, I haven't seen a whole lot that I think were super effective. But I think it's going to come down to really understanding that situation of what the customer is trying to do. And then if you honestly have something valuable to offer them before they go. And I think that the ones that are just there on, hey, we noticed you were trying to leave and like trying to make you stay longer or click something, those are the ones that are really annoying. But there have been some, I think I saw one, it was more in the context of an ebook. So I'd been looking at like one of these landing pages saying, hey, do you want this ebook or something? And I don't know, wandered around the site. And then when I came to leave, it gave me this little message that like download the ebook now. And that one didn't annoy me because I'd come there originally for that. And when they did that, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll download the ebook. Like that one I thought was cool. But I think, you know, it just, you really have to offer something that somebody wants for it to be effective. And if you're just going to annoy them, then yeah, it's just annoying.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that technology might come from one of our sponsors. They're called Hushly. So they do exit intent on like B2B white papers for
cool.
customers. Yeah.
So there you go. It worked on me.
Yeah, that's great. I'll let them know. Any other questions? I had a question. Oh, go ahead, Todd.
I have a question. Yeah, go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
Oh, should I go?
Yeah, go, Andrea.
Okay. Oh, thank you. That was a good idea about the bundling. I'm an astrologer, so if I offer like an astrology birth chart report and a year-long forecast report, should I include a discount if you buy the bundle or just offer the bundle?
So first of all, test both. I would definitely test both and see if you need to offer the discount. And you could also consider offering the discount for short periods of time. So you don't always have to offer the discount. I actually have a great blog post about flash sales. So consider doing something like a flash sale. So what you want to do is create these moments of FOMO for your customers where they know that when you offer a discount, it's real, it's a significant discount, but it's going to be very short-lived, right? And then you can also use things to build up towards that, right? So you send an email and you're like, hey, we're going to have a sale over the weekend or whatever. And sorry, I don't know any great astrology events, but I'm sure there are. So do it around a good one when people want to, you know, come and get a great deal over that weekend. And then, you know, that way, when you have great sales, but they end, it also helps you for the next ones, because then customers remember, and they remember that they missed out on the last one. So the next time they see a great deal from you, they're going to follow through on it because they don't want to miss out on the great deal. So you can think about different ways of doing there. And one thing that I actually didn't touch on in this presentation, but that is a really great cross-sell for certain kinds of businesses is subscriptions. So in your case, if you have things that, for example, maybe your customers want to get their monthly astrology updates or whatever, you could offer them on an ongoing basis. That's also something that you could offer. And when you do that kind of subscription, I like to give a few options. So like the shorter term options and the longer term options. Obviously, the longer you go, the bigger the discount you're going to offer. But for people to kind of have that option of the trial there. So maybe you offer a 2-month subscription and then a 6-month subscription. And that's also something you could bundle, right? So like if you buy the expensive chart, then you also get 2 months of the monthly subscription with that, right? And then that's a great value without you giving a monetary discount.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea, because I usually do these like spring equinox, summer solstice newsletters, you know, a few times a year, or, you know, New Year astrology newsletters. And that would be a good time to check in. And the subscription's a great way to go, because as you probably know, planets move and change, and there's Mercury retrograde and different events to be aware of. So I like the idea a lot of the subscription. That never dawned on me, yet my business is almost geared towards it.
Yeah. I find like, especially with service-based businesses, sure, of course, like subscriptions are a really great way to go, and just keep customers connected to you and keep them coming back.
Yeah, I see Amazon doing that. Like I think over a year ago, when I bought something as random as like laundry detergent on Amazon, they would offer the subscription at checkout. Like, are you sure you just want to buy this once, or can we send this to you every few months? So
Yeah.
it's
So
smart.
it's really smart. And with product subscriptions, you can do it kind of in two different ways. There's the way that Dennis suggested, which is a product subscription that's really just either part of the checkout or on the product page itself. It's almost like buying the product, but you just say, yeah, keep sending it to me. Or else you could get, some people like do these fun boxes, like get a different box every month, and the product alternates from month to month. So there are lots of different ways that you can package them. But yeah, the idea, when you do that kind of thing, your revenue keeps growing because the customer you bought today is going to pay you now for the next 3 months for the subscription, but you're going to keep bringing customers. So that revenue just keeps layering up there over time. So, any one of us wants a recurring revenue model, like a way that the customer just keeps automatically paying us. So.
Right. Excellent suggestion. And my business is Virgo in Service, astrology consulting. So very much about service. And the subscription service would be very, very ideal because that is something that changes and evolves basically every single day, every single week. Like a monthly subscription would be good to start with. Because the forecast report is good, but breaking it into smaller pieces, I never thought that's just very viable and very timely. I really appreciate that advice.
Sure. Well, good luck. I hope it works out, and test all the variations of it and see which one works for you and your clients.
Thank you. And I'm going to be sure to follow you on Twitter.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Todd, did you have a question?
Oh, I was just going to ask, which of those techniques you use does Wix use? I mean, does Wix have upselling opportunities with people, or is it all cross-selling, or is it just, we're going to funnel you this way?
Sure. So, with us, it's a little different because it's not physical products. It's mostly the platform. But the way that we do it is, first of all, we're a freemium-based company. So we do offer use of the platform for free. You can have a free website with Wix. And then if you want to use certain features, that's when you need to upgrade to premium. So if you want your own custom domain for your website, or if you want any of the business features, meaning that you want to sell on the platform and actually process and accept money. So throughout our customer journey, we're conscious of when is the right time to suggest that to a customer, right? So we're not everyone who comes to Wix, we try and convince them to start selling online, because not everyone's coming to create an e-commerce website. So we try to learn about our customers as they go through the process, both on information that they're volunteering to us. So we ask questions. What are you trying to do? Did you want this? Were you trying to do that? And then we start to understand more about what you're trying to do. And then there are other indications to us as you kind of mature within your website or your journey that also are good opportunities for us to suggest. And again, I think going back to that place of value. So, I have to say, when we think about websites or an online store, it's a business. It's a long-term investment. It's not something that anyone's coming to do quickly and get over with. So we're not trying to convince you to do something quickly just for the sake of doing it, right? We want to offer you the right feature and the right value at the right time for you, because we want you to succeed and do well and be happy with your online store or your website, and then stay with us. But stay with us through value, and then we both benefit, right? You keep buying your premium plan, and we're happy, and you keep selling on your website and you're happy.
I will say, as a Wix customer, I am not an e-commerce customer, but I am a Wix website customer, and you have done that very well. I have the Wix Premium because it was very easy to bundle everything. So I have my email address through Google, my domain, my everything. It's all connected. It was all available through Wix, and it was simple. And I've gotten prompts as I have gone through about, oh, hey, you might want to consider using this, or based on what we've seen, you might want to consider this. And it's good. It's not pushy, but it lets me know of other opportunities that I might not be aware of for making my website better.
Useful suggestions are giving you.
Yeah, helpful hints.
Right. So
Helpful
I think
hints.
it's going back to that value that I spoke about, right? And if you think about it in the context of a customer coming to the store, you want to make sure that they're aware of all the things that they're looking for. So for example, when you came and made your Wix website, maybe you didn't know that you could even get your email account through Wix, or that you could get any of those things. So we need to make sure that we're letting you know that if we think it's relevant for you, that it exists at the right time, that you want to use it. So in any context, I just think as long as there is value attached to it, then it should be effective on both sides.
I had
The
one
email is a
question. I
great
guess
example.
we have time
Right.
for
You go ahead.
maybe one last question,
I-
which will be mine. Or
Okay.
does someone else have a question?
Yeah, I had a question.
Okay, you go. You go.
Okay. So yeah, like you mentioned about the chat features, right, Liat? Great chat features about how to like correctly recommend related products, or try engage customers through chat. But how do you do it without scaring them off or sounding creepy?
So hey, Nia. I think you need to think about the fact that there is a human being on the other side. And if I go back to that context of the physical store, right? So if you walked into my store and I came up to you and I said, hey, Nia, how are you doing? And can I help you today? And what are you looking for? You wouldn't think that was creepy, right? Or at least if I didn't do it in a weird way. So I think it's the same in that kind of context, right? So, and you'll get a quick indication from a customer if they want to be chatting with you or not, right? If they're not responding to you, so leave them alone. And based on what they're saying, so you want to make sure that you're just offering them things in context of the conversation. So you don't want to be just, the minute somebody responds to you, automatically sending them, hey, here is a discount, or did you want to buy this? I think you genuinely want to understand what they're looking for and how you engage with them. And then, hopefully off of that, it goes in a good direction.
I think that's a good suggestion. I can make some changes, yeah.
And Liat, just one quick follow-up. To what extent are you seeing like AI bots for live chat? Are they working well for e-commerce, or are they not really in use?
So they are in use. I think that, again, it depends on the scenario. So first of all, depending on how you run your business, some businesses do not have staff available 24 hours a day. So even basic things like having a solution for somebody who wanted to chat, but then there wasn't somebody in the live chat. So allowing them to leave contact details for somebody to get back to them, and maybe having some kind of system for answering basic questions. So, a bot can be useful, again, if it's done in the right context. And also if you're not trying to trick people, right? So if it's a bot, I think just be straight up that like, hey, I'm the bot and I'm here to answer some questions if I can. And if not, then leave your contact details and somebody, a human, will get back to you when we can. And I think that you need to think about it really similarly to how you think about your social channels, right? So if you're offering live chat, you cannot just disappear from there, right? So of course, there are windows of time where it's okay that people aren't getting immediate responses, but they do expect timely responses. So as long as, you're providing that kind of expected service around it, then I think you can get away with it. I think the most effective use of bots is when they're in combination, right? So when the automated part and the AI part is covering part of it, but there are still scenarios in which you allow for that direct customer service and human interaction. But on this again, it really depends on the business and what you're able to do. And at the end of the day, I think some help to the customer is better than no help. So even if you're going to at least answer some of my, maybe I want to know answers about shipping and your refund policy and some basic stuff like that I could get from a bot in a decent way, that would be better than not getting any answers at all.
Excellent. Well, great advice, Liat, and great talk. I know it's late in the evening for you, so thanks so much for joining us. And so we're going to wrap up. Thanks everyone else for joining as well.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Stay safe out there.
Thank you.
Bye.